For the introduction, a collective agreement is a formal agreement between an employer or an employees' unit. The collective agreement typically occurs when an employer recognizes a union or organization in order to reach an agreement. It often includes salary and benefit as well as associated employment terms and circumstances such as work patterns, obligation, responsibilities of employers, trade union, and dispute resolution method. As an employer, this is the simplest method to obtain favorable terms and conditions for the most valuable employees' resources. It is founded on current legislation and duties agreed by all parties, and it coordinates the interests of employees, owners, and agencies to delegate authority.
Next is the process in collective agreement. When working under a collective agreement, there are a few procedures that must be followed. The first is that a collective agreement must be in writing and signed by the parties to the agreement or by those authorized to sign on their behalf. A signed copy of the collective agreement must be jointly delivered to the registrar, which is the industrial court, within 1 month of the agreement signing. The industrial court must take cognizance of any collective agreement. The court may require the parties to the agreement to amend any part of the agreement that does not comply with the sections 14 of the Industrial Act. The court may decline to the notice of the collective agreement if it thinks that the agreement does not comply with the section 14 in the Industrial Act. Next is content in collective agreement. In collective agreement, some content is usually complied with and is in each agreement. First is recognitions. Of this part is identify that union that has been designated as the negotiating representative and to list the employees covered by the agreement. This part contains a list of workers who expressly excluded from the agreement. Second is union security. The sections of the agreement permits the union to deduct union members' monthly union contributions from their pay and submit the money directly to the union by the terms of the agreement. The third one is compensations and benefits. Salary, scale, bonus payment, overtime rates, retirement benefits, vacation leave benefits, medical benefits, and allowance are frequently elements. Existing benefits prohibit the employer from unilateral withdrawing or lowering these benefits without speaking with the workers. But in other words, it's typical to add a phrase in the agreement that states all other existing benefits and practices not herein covered in this agreement shall continue to be enforced. The last one in procedures. A few processes will be included in the collective agreement. They are typically associated with the international advertisement of open posts with prospective individuals be given to fill this vacancy if they are interested.
Next, two causes why non-compliance in collective agreement is occur. According to the Section 14, Subsection 1 and Subsection 2 of the Industrial Relations Act 1967 state that the required condition of collective agreement. This required condition of collective agreement must be followed in order to avoid the non-compliance of collective agreement occurring. So, first causes non-compliance of collective agreement occur is an agreement not in writing and signed by the parties to the agreement or by person authorized on that behalf. After an agreement was made between two parties, it must be signed by the parties who made the agreement itself, or it also can be signed by an authorized person on their behalf. Authorized person could be anyone who has the authority to sign the agreement, and normally it could be the minister, such as the Minister of Human Resources. The agreement will not be valid if there is not signed by the parties, or it was signed by an authorized person. The court will be reject any agreement that does not follow the requirement as stated in the Industrial Relations Act. Second causes non-compliance of collective agreement is an agreement not set out the term of the agreement and shall. The content in the agreement must complete and fulfill all the requirements as stated in the Section 14, Subsection 2 of Industrial Relations Act 1967. The content that must be included in the agreement is: first, it must specify the name of the parties to the agreement. Second, it must specify the duration of the agreement, which is also cannot be less than 3 years. Third, it must include a procedure for modification and termination of the agreement. Fourth, it must specify the procedure to be used to settle any dispute over interpretation or implementation of the agreement. And the last one is must not include items which are considered as a managerial prerogative, such as promotion, transfer, recruitment, and so on. Based on Section 14, Subsection 3 of the Industrial Relations Act 1967, state non-compliance of the collective agreement will occur if the required conditions are not followed as mentioned in the Industrial Relations Act 1967.
In conclusion, collective agreement can benefit employees and employers. A collective agreement allows parties to agree on terms that favor them. It has the potential to benefit employees by enhancing their living conditions and quality of life. It is clear that this agreement gives stability in which employees may be safeguarded. This improves company efficiency and production, resulting in future development.